Do you yearn for a God game? For
the power of God.
Do you miss hours of playing black and white? Are you ready to
rule the universe?
Then you have come to the right place. While this is not the perfect God game, as Cortiva put it,
and it'll scratch that God game itch you've had for years.
Hello, Universirian, and welcome to Strategies Universe. Today I will show you how to scratch that God game itch. To start things off, if you have not watched my Universim user interface video and this is the first time playing the game, I recommend that you
watch it.
Yeah, watch it.
And I put a link in the description. As most of you probably know, the Universim is more of a construction management simulation with God powers added in as a bonus. But this video will teach you how to scratch that God game itch. So let's power up those creator points and start running a Universim. The first task you will need to do when you start a new game is to drop your epicenter near lots of water, trees, and stone, with the ability to expand in the future, and water being the most important.
But why?
The number one resource you'll need is water. Water is used to keep your nuggets alive, and is also needed to run your buildings. Wood and stone are needed in the beginning of the game to build almost anything. Your nuggets are going to expand, and if they have to walk around mountains to get where they're going to do that and most probably end up dying. Moving resources around mountains takes a lot of time.
Thanks. Where should I put this?
Here's an example of a bad place to put your epicenter. As you can see, we're surrounded. There's mountains, waters, and there's really no place for your nuggets to travel or expand. Here's an example of a good place to put your epicenter. As you can see, we have water, stones, or mountains, and we have a lot of room for expansion. The key to playing the Universim as a God game is to let your nuggets do as much as they can by themselves. For example, let your nuggets decide what to research. Your nuggets will make mistakes, and this is where you use your godly influence to help them.
But why?
By doing this, you make the game different every time that you play. You are also playing it more like a God game because you are influencing your nuggets instead of telling them what to do. The number one most important thing to focus on in the beginning of the game is to make more nuggets. The very first thing to do is to sit back and watch your nuggets build their residence. However, if they pray for you to help them, you should probably help them. Don't assign nuggets to any buildings until they built their residence so that they can focus on this quickly and then create more nuggets.
What? But why?
According to the game programming, until your nuggets have a residence, they cannot create more nuggets. Once the residence is built, use the Lycupodon power, or, if you want to complete the Book of Love quest, wait for them to pray to you for them to have a baby, and then use the Lycupodon power to help them.
But why?
If you're playing like a God game, you want your nuggets to make as many decisions for themselves. This will either cause you to be very busy, keeping a few nuggets alive, or your population will die off. By having more nuggets means they can build and run more buildings. Plus, isn't love kind of a God thing anyway? Please note that if you join two nuggets of the same sex, you will get a really, really bright rainbow and two very happy nuggets, but these nuggets will not create more nuggets. Thus, it goes against what you're trying to accomplish in the beginning of the game of creating more nuggets.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
If you accidentally connect two of the same sex together, the way to fix this is to make sure you take those two that you connected and connect them to two of the opposite sex. If you do not reconnect one of them, you will have a very unhappy nugget. The next most important thing after creating more nuggets is keeping your nuggets happy.
Yeah, but why?
By keeping your happiness level up, your creative points go up faster. You get more believers. Thus, you have less nuggets leaving and becoming exiles that later attack your nuggets. In the beginning of the game, you will not have cemeteries. Until you have cemeteries, move your dead nuggets far away from your population so that you do not infect the other nuggets. But don't put dead nuggets in water or you could poison the water.
Why go to all that trouble?
Dead nuggets start to rot and make other nuggets sick. Once your nuggets research enough to have cemeteries, you can move your dead nuggets to the cemeteries. Build cemeteries as soon as you can. I recommend moving them to cemeteries instead of healing the infected sites because it costs 5 creator points less to move them and they get a proper burial. Heal your nuggets whenever they are sick.
But why?
You don't want your nuggets to die off, and you want to keep them happy. Heal your buildings whenever they are about to break down.
The real question is why?
If you don't have engineers fixing your buildings, they'll eventually be destroyed if you don't fix them. In the beginning, focus on water. Sadly, your nuggets are only smart enough to build residences, and you have to build everything else. Water is probably your most critical resource in the game. As soon as your nuggets research it, add water wherever you can. I recommend that once you have the water wheel, build at least 2 reservoirs next to each water wheel so that it can capture the excess water for winter, when the water wheel will freeze up and stop working. To help your nuggets with food in the beginning of the game, or even in the late game, you can pick up an animal and drop it. It will create food for your nuggets. Make sure that you zoom in as close as possible to the ground when you drop them so that you don't drop them on people or buildings. If you have trouble zooming in, use the A, W, S, or D key to move a tiny bit, and then you should be able to zoom in. Don't place buildings that you don't have resources to build.
Yes, but why?
Because you'll not be able to build that building until you have the resources. Also, don't upgrade buildings until you have the resources to build them for the same reason. Quick expert tip. To move faster, hold down the shift key. Please join us for part 2 of how to play Universim Like a God game. Until then, add to the comments any questions that you have or anything you'd like to see. And please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. This has been John Foster with Strategies Universe. Now go and create the universe that you want.
Guide their progress by growing their cities and evolve their technology from the Stone Age to space colonization among the stars. It's quirky, it's colorful, and it'll scratch that God game itch you've had for years. Besides, it's about time someone worshipped you for the extraordinary being that you are.